Breaking in here to give you an update on the storm situation here in the valley. Good evening. I'm meteorologist Iris Hermosillo. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for the Phoenix Metro. That severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 8:45. And you can see all of that lightning. You've probably heard it if you live in central Phoenix. As these storms rolled in, they are producing a lot of lightning, but also some heavy rain and potentially some strong winds too. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8:45. It does cover areas north of Phoenix Sky Harbor, areas north of the I-10, all the way through Glendale up into Deer Valley and just north of there too around Desert Ridge. You can see that orange polygon rather. That is where that severe thunderstorm warning is. The potential is there for some wind gusts near 60 miles an hour, possibly some small hail too. So be mindful of that. Indoors is where you want to be as these storms roll through, not only because of the heavy rain and the strong winds that could potentially be dangerous, but also all of that lightning too as these storms line up and move towards the southwest. They're impacting portions of State Route 51, and you can see I-17 just getting drenched right now as these storms slowly track to the west. They're not moving very fast at about 10 miles an hour, but working their way west. Also, you'll notice a few storms filling in up near Peoria and Surprise too. And even though downtown Phoenix is not within that alert area necessarily, we do have a few storms right around the Durango curve here at this hour, producing some heavy rain too. So if you're in this area of Glendale, Maryville, Deer Valley, again, central Phoenix around Arcadia, around Camelback Mountain, you'll notice some of that heavy rain, possibly just northwest of Arcadia and around the Biltmore area is where we've got more of that lightning and that heavier rain as this storm starts to work its way west, and rather west of the 51 too. So just west, I should clarify, of the Biltmore area. So between the 51 and also the I-17 is where we're seeing those pockets of heavier rain. You'll notice these storms starting to expand further to the southwest too. So you can see Grand Avenue right there. These storms are going to work their way across southwest of Grand Avenue and eventually up towards areas like the 101 near the Cardinal Stadium too, and further to the west, filling in around Surprise. If you're in Goodyear and if you're in Avondale, storms are likely heading your way as these storms continue to fill in and track towards the west southwest. They're bringing some strong winds, some heavy rain. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning is for storms that are producing potentially wind gusts as high as 60 miles an hour. Also want to bring your attention to areas south of the Phoenix Metro where we've got not only severe thunderstorm warnings, but also a dust storm warning as well. This is for areas south of the Estrellas, but something to be mindful of as we could see areas of dust that could significantly reduce visibility and become very hazardous for those areas south of the Phoenix Metro. If you're planning to travel in those areas along the I-8 potentially, or even the I-10, I'd hold off for a bit until these storms clear out further to the west, because again, that potential is there for dust that could significantly reduce visibility and cause hazards on the road. I want to take you to, if we can, switch over to one of our valley cams to show you the look along State Route 51. And you can see all of the lightning too as this storm, the severe thunderstorm, continues to impact portions of central Phoenix. Again, there's that camera for you, and you can see there's State Route 51 and those flashes of light too as that severe thunderstorm is now west of State Route 51, but the lightning flash is still visible from that perspective in the Phoenix Mountain Preserve right there. Back to Desert Doppler radar, I'm going to show you that thunderstorm again and that severe thunderstorm warning right around the I-10, from about the I-10 up to the 101. Up to Deer Valley, just south of Anthem. That severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect until 8:45. Heavy rain moving through, stretching from about Desert Ridge and that pocket of Cave Creek, all the way towards the southwest. Areas between the 51 and the I-17. Spots like Maryville getting hit hard right now. And then that storm is slowly tracking towards the west. So it's going to continue to fill in across Glendale, also Peoria, and potentially up into Surprise too. Surprise, you are not under that severe thunderstorm warning yet, but parts of Peoria and Glendale, Deer Valley, and Central Phoenix under that severe thunderstorm warning as this storm continues to track towards the west. And you'll notice areas south of the I-10 around the Durango curve also seeing that heavy rainfall right now too. Again, not under a severe thunderstorm warning if you live in areas around the Durango curve, but that warning is for those areas just again north of there within that polygon. I want to show you this storm a little closer as it's producing a lot of heavy rain. I'm going to take you to some of the neighborhoods too, just so that you have a better idea of what communities I'm talking about that are getting hit the hardest. Right now, you're seeing Desert Ridge, a lot of lightning there, and you can see the roads there. We're talking areas around the 101, around 32nd Street, State Route 51, a pocket of heavy rain there. As I zoom further to the southwest along the areas of the heaviest rain, North Mountain, the Sunny Slope area getting hit pretty hard. This is around 7th Avenue, 7th Street and 7th Avenue, where we're seeing a lot of that heavy rain, and Cactus Road too. Further to the west of there, along Black Canyon Highway, right near Metro Center Mall, getting a lot of heavy rain there, or formerly known as Metro Center Mall. A lot of heavy rain in that area too. Glendale Avenue getting some heavy rain right between 19th Avenue and 43rd Avenue too. Lightning, heavy rain, and again, the potential is there for some strong wind gusts too as we continue to track this severe thunderstorm warning. We're talking wind gusts that could potentially be as high as 60 miles an hour. Now, this storm is moving towards the west again, producing wind gusts as high as 60 miles an hour. There is that potential with winds that strong that we could start to see some damage to some trees, potentially some roofs as well. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a good idea to be indoors as these storms roll through. Now, we are looking at areas like Phoenix, Glendale, Peoria, Paradise Valley being impacted, Piestewa Peak, the Deer Valley Airport area, North Mountain, as I mentioned earlier, downtown Peoria also getting hit pretty hard. Arrowhead Mall, downtown Glendale will be impacted too. Metro Center, Camelback Mountain, Desert Ridge Marketplace, and the Arizona State Fairgrounds. Now, as I zoom on out a little bit further, what you're going to see is that polygon kind of drops off right around the I-10. So areas around downtown Phoenix, not necessarily under that severe thunderstorm warning, but we do have some heavy rain from about 7th Street all the way down Lower Buckeye over to 35th Avenue. I want to take you to that ADOT camera too. We've got some heavy rain that's visible on that ADOT camera that you're looking at right now. That's the one on Bell Road. You can see all of that lightning too, and that rain coming down. At this point, I'm not seeing any flooding issues, not from this perspective, and I haven't gotten any flood alerts for this area at this point, but you can see all of that rain is going to create some issues on the roadways. Taking you to another valley cam. This one is our Cave Creek Road valley cam. And again, look at how wet those roads are here at this hour. So if you do have to head out on the road, give yourself some extra time tonight, because you know that driving on the wet pavement certainly can lead to issues on the roadways. So take your time, take it easy out there as those roads are wet, and those cars, in fact, as you look really closely, you can actually start to see there's a little bit of flooding, it looks like, on the freeway right there. This is on Cave Creek Road. You see those cars slowing down on your right-hand side? It almost looks like they're going into water right there. My producer, maybe you can look at this a little bit closer, can confirm, I believe, yeah, those cars are slowing down because they're running into some ponding water on the roadway there. So again, this is near Cave Creek Road, the 101. Be mindful of that area. The water is piling up there on that highway, and that potentially could be happening in other spots too. So let me find that spot here on radar so you get an idea of exactly where I'm talking about. So we're talking Cave Creek Road along the Loop 101. Right there is where we're seeing some of that heavy rain that's coming down. I'm going to take you to radar, and you can see all of that red and the orange there along the Loop 101 and Cave Creek Road, and that is exactly where some of that water is ponding there on the freeway, and it's causing some issues with cars slowing down. We do not have any flood alerts for this area yet, but keep in mind that rain is pretty heavy in those spots, and because of that, that's going to cause some issues, potentially some low-lying areas at least getting a bit inundated. And so it's something to be aware of. If you do have to hit the road, you're going to want to give yourself extra time and avoid low-lying areas if you can avoid them. Let's zoom back out so I can show you that polygon again. We're talking about a severe thunderstorm warning that is in the valley right now. It remains in effect until 8:45 here tonight. So time right now is 8:38. We are tracking that severe thunderstorm warning that is impacting central Phoenix. It stretches from about the Northeast Valley Down to the south, areas in central Phoenix impacted by this storm. Again, you can see some of that very heavy rain that we were just showing you on the 101 that's leading to some issues of ponding water on the roadways. The roads are wet along the Loop 101, also parts of the 51 and especially I-17 getting hit with some heavy rain. That rain has now spread further south of the US 60, and now we're seeing some of that heavy rain too along the I-10 with more storms popping up closer to Tullison as well, over in Peoria and up by Surprise too. Now those areas are not under that severe thunderstorm warning yet, but if this storm remains as intense as it has been, it's possible that we see these severe thunderstorm warnings extended a little further out towards the west. Right now though, that severe thunderstorm warning again is within that yellow or rather orange polygon. It is until 8:45 here tonight. Right now it's 8:39, so I'll stay on with you until it expires and let you know whether it is actually going to expire or whether the National Weather Service decides to extend it, as this storm again bringing some heavy rain, potentially wind gusts up near 60 miles an hour. That could cause damage to trees. Also a lot of heavy rain, or rather damage to trees, damage to homes as well. Also a lot of heavy rain, and we're seeing a lot of the rain on the roadways. If we could go back to that valley cam, I want to show you, this is from about the Loop 101 where some of that heavy rain is coming down, and you can see the cars, if you look on the right hand side, are just having to slow down because it looks like they're driving into an area where the water is lower, and you can see those lightning strikes too, where the water rather is ponding up on the roadway, and so they're having to slow down. Be mindful of that. You may encounter this if you had plans to maybe go into that area of the 101. This is again looking west on Cave Creek Road and the 101. A lot of heavy rain, and in some of those areas of the freeway the water is ponding up. So this thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm warning, was issued a little bit ago, and again remains in effect until 8:45 as we continue to track these storms across the Phoenix metro area. These storms initially developed as we saw storms northeast of the valley that sent an outflow boundary our way. So that is an area of stronger winds, that outflow boundary essentially triggering these thunderstorms. They started out near Fountain Hills and worked their way towards the rest of the valley, into the valley rather towards the southwest, into parts of the Phoenix metro area before expanding even further and very quickly across parts of central Phoenix. I'm sorry, can you repeat that for me, please, my producer? Okay, perfect. All right, well, looks like we've got an extension on this severe thunderstorm warning. Let me show you this alert really quick, because again, it looks like this has been extended now. So we had that severe thunderstorm warning until 10:45, rather until 8:45. But if you can see, that polygon has now been expanded to cover more of the Phoenix metro as these storms have continued to expand. And that severe thunderstorm warning has now been extended until 9:15. So the time right now is 8:41, and what looks like is going to happen is the National Weather Service may let that initial warning expire because they have essentially issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for a larger area of the Phoenix metro that does include that original area. So let me go ahead and clear this off for you so that you get a better idea of what I'm referring to, and so that you can see exactly what I am talking about. So if you can see here, I'll scooch up so you can see me on camera too. If you can see that polygon there in the orange, that wider one, that is the new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued, and that will remain in effect until 9:15. That severe thunderstorm warning within that polygon is that box right there. That was the original one that was issued, and that was set to expire here at 8:45. But the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a brand new warning that covers not only that same area, but also areas further to the south where we were watching around the Durango curve, and areas to the west as well. It looks like we have some viewer video that we can show you. This is hail that I'm seeing right there. This was sent in. Thank you so much for sending in your video. This is video from Sunny Slope, and you can see those strong winds there along with hail there. Hard to tell the size. It looks really small, but either way, impactful there as it's starting to cover the ground in the Sunny Slope area. So this is from those storms that we've been tracking over the Sunny Slope area that have brought that heavy rain, the strong winds, and as you can see, some hail too. So if you're checking in with us here Let me go ahead and reset and show you exactly what we're looking at here on Desert Doppler radar. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of the Phoenix metro area. We've got two severe thunderstorm warnings that we're talking about. One that is set to expire at 8:45 here tonight. That one is that smaller box that you're seeing there on Desert Doppler radar. That one will likely expire at 8:45, and it has been replaced, or will be replaced rather, by this larger polygon there that you see that covers portions of Glendale, portions of Glendale and also Goodyear and areas around Laveen as well. That alert will remain in effect until 9:15. It is a severe thunderstorm warning, and it is referring to that storm that is located from Desert Ridge Marketplace to Metro Center to near the Arizona State Fairgrounds. It is moving west very slowly at 5 miles an hour. So we're getting a lot of heavy rain. And the rain essentially is sitting over areas for quite some time because, again, this storm is moving very slowly. And that's why we're running into some issues where the water is essentially ponding up on some of those roadways, especially what we've seen is areas along the Loop 101 near Cave Creek Road is where we are seeing some of that ponding water on the roadways. And you can see that live image right there from the ADOT camera where the cars are working their way through the rain and also having to slow down, especially as you look on the right-hand side, which I believe is a westbound side. As they are working their way west, they are running into an area where the water is ponding on the roadways, and so cars are having to significantly slow down on the highway as they travel westbound. Be aware of this. If you were going to hit the road in this area, look at how all those cars are starting to hit their brake lights because they're running into an area of deeper water. We are going to work our desk crew and maybe ask them to give ADOT a call, see if they are monitoring this situation because of the water there that is lower. My advice to you is to, again, avoid the road right now if you can, especially in this area where the water is ponding up on the roadway and leading to cars having to slow down, hoping that everybody stays safe out there, but it's certainly an area that we are going to be keeping a close eye on. Let me take you back to Desert Doppler radar because I want to show you 8:45 hit, and sure enough, that initial severe thunderstorm warning allowed to expire, but that is because it was replaced by a larger area under a severe thunderstorm warning that does include that original spot right around the I-17 State Route 51. Also up near Desert Ridge Marketplace, as those areas are still getting hit pretty hard with a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning too, some strong winds, and our viewers also sending in some hail too. So that's what's happening here with these storms that are working their way slowly, very slowly. We're talking moving at 5 miles an hour, slowly tracking to the west. Those storms impacting portions of the I-10 now, areas around Goodyear, areas around Laveen too. Storms also impacting the US 60. Just south of Peoria. Peoria is getting some rain, but the heaviest rain right now was really focused around Glendale, including downtown Glendale, the Maryvale community too, and then up towards Desert Ridge as well. Central Phoenix not impacted as significantly. We're getting some rain in Central Phoenix, or downtown Phoenix rather at this point, but much of it has started to push to the west, and much of it is now located just west of the I-17. So I'm going to clear out that box just to give you a better perspective. I'm going to take you neighborhood by neighborhood so you can see exactly which areas I'm referring to. The area where we're seeing a lot of that rain right now that's creating issues rather along the State Route 51 is right in the Northeast Valley near Desert Ridge Marketplace. We've got some power outages too. My producer is telling me, let's go ahead and take that map. Nearly 1,200 power outages at this hour here. The outage starting at 8:41, and you can see where the most significant power outages are in the Alhambra area near North Mountain, essentially right where we're seeing the strongest thunderstorms right now. So you can see that those outages are happening and impacting people in that area in particular where we're seeing some of those strongest storms. It looks like the estimated time that they're going to hopefully get it back going for you is about 1 hour and 54 minutes. We are going to continue to keep an eye on that situation as well here as we go through the night. So that area right there on the map that you saw where we have the most significant power outages is essentially right here near Alhambra, near Metro Center, Maryvale, Glendale. That's where we're seeing seeing some of the heaviest rain at this moment. A lot of lightning too, and this is a severe thunderstorm, so we're potentially talking gusts as high as 60 miles an hour. Some of our viewers also sending us in some video. We're seeing some small hail as well, and then this is rain from the North Phoenix area. Want to thank you so much for sending in these videos because you help us tell the story. Of course, make sure that you're staying safe while you take these videos. This is another view from our Valley Cam 2. That one was showing you the lightning strikes behind Camelback Mountain as these storms were initially starting to move in. But this is heavy rain from the North Phoenix area. And again, it's coming down. We certainly need the rain, right? And we've all been hoping for it, especially after a week where we had back-to-back Category 5 dust storms roll through. The rain helping clear the air a bit and settle some of that dust, but it also comes with its own issues when we're talking hail and potentially damaging winds. This is another video from one of our viewers. This is Hassan sending that in from the Sunny Slope area of hail falling, it looks like there. Again, a lot of hail covering the ground there as these storms are intense as they work their way through the valley. And again, they are continuing rather to work their way through the valley. So they haven't really slowed up much or eased up much here as they move towards the west. So as I zoom back out, I want to take you back to Desert Doppler radar, give you a bit of a reset here and show you exactly which areas we are looking at and which areas we are talking about where we're seeing that severe thunderstorm warning. So this is the wide view of that storm. Essentially, this line of storms that stretches from about Desert Ridge Marketplace down to near Deer Valley, over into the Maryville, Alhambra, Sunny Slope community, over into Glendale and downtown Glendale, and then further to the south from there, you can see it stretches into areas along the I-10. I'm going to take you into some of those neighborhoods too to give you an idea of what streets are mostly impacted right now. We're talking areas around Lower Buckeye, along the Loop 202 Santan, where that Loop 202 Santan interchange with the I-10 is. McDowell Road getting some very heavy rain right now. If you are joining us from areas around 75th Avenue rather, between 35th Avenue and 75th Avenue, we've got a strong storm that's moving through your area, producing a lot of lightning. This is now starting to work its way west of the I-17, at least this portion of the storm. And you can see areas just south of Westgate around Tullison impacted here by this storm that's starting to produce a new pocket of heavy rain along the Loop 101 in Westgate. Maryville getting hit pretty hard if you're in areas around 59th Avenue and Indian School, getting some heavy rain. Areas around GCU still getting some rain, although the heaviest has shifted just a little bit further to the west. We're talking areas around downtown Glendale, 75th Avenue and Glendale, 71st Avenue rather, and Glendale getting some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, potentially some hail there too, with that storm producing some very strong winds possibly as well. And still getting some of that heavy rain too, just west of Desert Ridge. I encourage you, if you live in that area around Desert Ridge, north of the 101, this is southeast of Dixie Mountain, you know that there are some low-lying areas in your community that tend to flood fairly easily whenever we see monsoon storms that bring heavy rain. And so my advice is to avoid hitting the roads in that area if you can, certainly for your safety, so that you aren't encountering an area that is flooded or a low-lying area rather that is receiving a lot of rain that again could lead to some flooding, some inundated roads, and in the dark it's much harder to see. So certainly something to keep in mind there, and an area, or rather areas to avoid. As you look further to the west again, Peoria, you are getting some rain, but the heaviest is still over downtown Glendale, and you can see these strong storms are spreading a little further to the west too, now impacting portions of the 101 more significantly in the West Valley. There's Westgate. If you look south of Westgate, 99th Avenue, and also areas around Indian School and the 101, do we by chance have an ADOT camera along the Loop 101 that we can tap into in the far West Valley? I know our crews are working on it behind the scenes. Shout out to them for finding us these cameras and showing us these views of where some of the heaviest rain is falling. We of course can see it on desert Doppler radar, but watching it on cameras certainly makes a difference as well. Areas along the I-10 getting hit hard too right now with some of that heavy rain. As I zoom you back out on desert Doppler radar, I'm going to give you a wider view in case you're watching us. Maybe you're in the East Valley, spots like Apache Junction and Queen Creek. You're quiet now. We did have some storms coming off the superstitions earlier that kicked out some gusty winds and some pockets of dust as well. We had a few dust alerts southeast of Queen Creek earlier, but no significant dust threat in parts of the Southeast Valley earlier. And now you can see that those areas are relatively quiet. The strongest storms in our area right now are impacting portions of the valley that are west of the I-17 and also areas near Deer Valley. Also, a brand new update for you as I zoom on in. You're going to notice that that polygon now is a little bit smaller. So the National Weather Service has gone ahead. They say the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 9:15 for this area that is in that orange polygon. So spots like Glendale, spots like Levine, parts of West Phoenix and areas of Goodyear under that severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. That storm is located, or rather those thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Deer Valley Airport down to downtown Glendale and to near Levine. They're moving a little faster now at about 10 miles an hour. These are destructive storms for the portions these portions of the Phoenix metro area. Those are words from the National Weather Service. They believe that these winds now could be as high as 80 miles an hour. So that is the update for you. These are significant storms that are going to cause damage, not just to trees, but potentially to some homes in the area as well. We hope not, but know that these are significant storms. We're talking potentially wind gusts as high as 80 miles an hour. This severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 9:15. Let me show you the outage map here when it comes to power outages. And this is from, let me confirm, is this SRP? This is the SRP outage map, okay? And this, more than 3,000 total people are now without power. And you can see the focus there is right between about Alhambra and downtown Glendale, those areas around North Mountain, just north of Metro Center 2 as we zoom in. That is an area that is significantly impacted with more than 3,000 people without power, likely due to these storms. I mentioned just a little bit ago that severe thunderstorm warning updated to now reflect the potential threat of wind gusts as high as 80 miles an hour. So significantly strong winds. I want to see if we can get that ADOT camera that we're looking at the 101 and Glendale Avenue, because what you're going to see there are winds that actually are kind of blowing that rain around, because that's how strong, look at that, how strong those winds are. This is the 101 and Glendale Avenue. This is the 101 North. It's that area around the Cardinal Stadium. It is one of the areas getting hit hard right now. That area is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Wind gusts potentially as high as 80 miles an hour. So this is why that camera there from ADOT is shaking. Those winds are powerful. We, in addition to the winds, have some very heavy rain falling in that area. Indoors is where you want to be as these storms are rolling through. They are going to cause significant issues on the roadways here as they blow through that area, but could also cause damage to homes, to trees. There's plenty of lightning as well. And so inside is the place to be as these storms roll through. In addition to that, look at visibility. It's hard to see on these cameras. It's of course even harder if you're on the roadways. So now is not the time to try to venture out, especially along the I-10 in the West Valley, areas along the Loop 101 near the Cardinal Stadium. Avoid it if you can. And then areas also along the US 60 around downtown Glendale. That is the pocket of heaviest rain right now And that is the area where we're seeing the more significant storms. So again, if we go to Desert Doppler radar, I want to show you that polygon box that is highlighting essentially where we've got those strongest storms. It is a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect until 9:15 here this evening. And you can see that warning rather from the National Weather Service that these storms are potentially destructive as they are producing some very strong winds in that area. The wind gusts could be as high as 80 miles an hour. And this core in particular, right here where you see all of that red, we're talking from downtown Glendale to the south to around the I-10 to areas around Westgate and the Cardinal Stadium, and then just further west of there as well. You can see these storms are starting to expand a little bit further to the west too, and a little further to the south. There are the Estrellas. So those storms, if you live near the Estrellas, areas around Buckeye, not necessarily impacted, but areas a little bit further to the east of there, those areas starting to get some of that heavy rain as well. So we're talking significantly heavy rain, but the main threat with these are these wind gusts that could go as high as 80 miles an hour. This severe thunderstorm warning will run till 9:15, but if the threat continues beyond that, it's possible that the National Weather Service continues to expand this alert and possibly reset it a little further out too. If you're watching us from areas around the White Tanks or around the Loop 303, the storms are to your east, but they are tracking to the west. So know that these storms could continue to move towards the west and move in your direction. They likely will. Whether they'll have this intensity, we'll have to see, but it does look at this point that they're maintaining their intensity as they move to the west. The other thing I want to point out is that quarter-size hail is possible with these severe thunderstorms. So this cluster of storms producing some heavy rain, wind gusts potentially that are destructive as high as 80 miles an hour, but also hail is a possibility as high as, or rather as large as a quarter. I want to take you to some viewer video that we got from a little earlier when these storms were over the Sunny Slope area. This video rather is of some hail that moved through the Sunny Slope area. Of course, hard to tell the size on the video of these storms, but know that these storms again have been producing hail. They do have a history of that, but also they are producing potentially some strong winds. Okay, we just got another update from the National Weather Service. I'm going to go ahead and reset this radar for you so you get a better idea of the areas that we're referring to rather as we go to Desert Doppler radar here again. You can see that polygon. The shape has changed just a little bit to cover the areas where the most significant portion of the storm is. And that's the key with the National Weather Service. They are watching this storm really closely, these storms rather, really closely. And so as the storm moves, they are evolving this box, this polygon box and this alert area to keep folks safe and informed in those areas that are going to be most significantly impacted. So as I show you that alert, the update to it shows that this severe thunderstorm warning does remain in effect until 9:15. You're going to notice that the, apologize for the arrow there. You're going to notice that the wind speed has gone down just slightly, no longer at 80 miles an hour. Good news there. But now we're looking at a wind speed or wind gust as high as potentially 70 miles an hour as these storms continue to work their way towards the south and towards the west. The latest message from the National Weather Service here at 8:59. That severe thunderstorm warning remains until 9:15 here for portions of Maricopa County, and there you see for the valley, stretching from about Peoria to Glendale and areas to the south near Levine. This severe thunderstorm is moving west a little faster now. If you were watching earlier, we started moving west at about 5 miles an hour, up to 10 miles an hour, and now it is tracking towards the west at 15 miles an hour from about downtown Glendale down to near Tullison. Wind gusts could be as high as 70 miles an hour. They expect, or rather they warn, that you can expect considerable tree damage likely to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. So if you've got a porch, for example, pergolas, things of that nature, certainly something to be concerned with. Outdoors is not the place to be. Now is not the time to go secure things if you're already getting hit by these strong winds. But know that if you are west of there, in areas along the Loop 303, you may still have some time to secure anything that you want to secure before those stronger winds come in. We've got brand new video coming in here. Let's take you to that. This is from 107th Avenue and Thomas, and you can see those strong winds there as the heavy rain also comes down in Chelsea. This is Chelsea who sent us this video. The strong rain comes down in Chelsea's yard, it looks like, or where she's shooting the video from. Again, strong winds, heavy rain. I'm not seeing hail from here, but you can see those heavy downpours and essentially the wind moving the rain too as these storms roll through. So significant storms moving through the Phoenix metro area right now. I'm going to take you to the ADOT camera once again. This is the Loop 101 in Glendale. We are watching that storm move through areas around Westgate along the Loop 101 in the West Valley. And you can see that ADOT camera is shaking because of how strong those winds are. There is some very heavy rain coming down there too. Visibility is significantly reduced. In fact, I can't even see what looks like maybe the southbound side there on the 101. We've got some cars that almost look like they've got their flashers on. It's likely that they're struggling with visibility as well as folks try to drive along that highway. My advice to you is to avoid the highway if you can. Avoid going outside at this point if you can, because of these strong thunderstorms that are working their way through. So significant storms moving through the West Valley right now along the I-10, areas like Glendale impacted, areas like Tullison impacted as well, with the potential there for storms to produce winds as high as 70 miles an hour in this area of I-10, areas within that severe thunderstorm warning, parts of the Loop 101 and the I-10 as well. Considerable tree damage is expected with storms this strong. Damage is likely to mobile homes per the National Weather Service. Roofs and outbuildings could be damaged as well. Just something in case you are familiar with the mile markers in that area. This does impact portions of the I-10 between mile marker 130 and 142, portions of the I-17 between the 202 and the 209. I will tell you, at least the I-17 is a little less active than it was just minutes ago as the bulk of this storm and the heaviest rain moves further to the west. And of course, the US 60 significantly impacted too between mile markers 145 and 160 as well as these storms roll through. So again, I'm going to take you to Desert Doppler radar to show you where these storms are, and apologize for the radar freezing up just a little bit, to give you a view of the entire Phoenix metro, just so that you have an idea of where the strongest storms are right at this moment. So right now, again, there we go. We've got the strongest storms impacting the West Valley, and what you're seeing right now is another severe thunderstorm warning. I mentioned that it was possible that this would get extended a little further out to the west, and that's exactly what just happened. So as I mentioned earlier, the National Weather Service watching this really closely, of course, and as this storm moves west, they're following it along and issuing those warnings out ahead of the strongest portions of the storm. So what you're seeing now is a new polygon box, and I'm going to show you that alert just so that you know which area I'm referring to. And there you see that new severe thunderstorm warning. So this is the one that remains in effect until 9:15, that covers portions of downtown Glendale, areas around Peoria as well, portions of the I-10, and then areas around Goodyear and Tullison. Well, now just west of there, you can see that new polygon box that was just put out, again, ahead of the strongest portion of the storm, as these storms work their way west, essentially right along the I-10, working their way west towards the White Tanks and also towards areas of Buckeye. That part of the alert, or that new severe thunderstorm warning rather, will remain in effect until 9:45 here tonight. And those winds in that area potentially as high as 60 miles an hour. What that tells me is that the National Weather Service is noticing that this storm is maybe losing a little bit of its intensity. Just moments ago, about 15 minutes ago, we had wind gusts potentially as high as 80 miles an hour. As this storm has picked up a little bit of speed, it has lost a little bit of intensity too, but still strong, still severe, still dangerous, but wind gusts now as high as 60 miles an hour, and those hail sizes potentially as high as a quarter size hail. So know that this storm is still tracking to the west. It is filling into the west along areas of I-17, but still impacting areas around Surprise, Peoria, Glendale, also areas around Goodyear too. And now this storm will fill in around the White Tanks, Luke Air Force Base, getting some of that heavy rain as well, along with lightning. And then that severe thunderstorm warning for spots like Peoria and Glendale, that one's still set to expire at 9:15. I will let you know if anything changes with that. But now we've got that new alert that stretches further to the west that goes until 9:45. And then south of here, just to update you, this has been a very active area. This area southeast of Gila Bend. Look at all of that lightning. We've got a flash flood warning that essentially is in place overnight into about 12:45 tonight for an area that has gotten very heavy rain. Low-lying areas will be very dangerous there because of that, and also a severe thunderstorm warning for that area that does include spots just east of Gila Bend. So I'm going to take you back to that valley view, and I'm going to show you the outage map, because this is the power outage map, and it's essentially going to show you all of the outages. My producer telling me that we've got now 31,000 people between SRP and APS that are without power at this hour. And you can see this is the SRP map, and you can see that the focus really is exactly where these storms roll through. So the National Weather Service had issued that severe thunderstorm warning with wind gusts potentially as high as 80 miles an hour earlier. And we're seeing now all of these areas that are without power after these storms roll through. The areas hit most significantly are spots just west of the I-17, right near you can see the Windsor Square area. Areas around Alhambra without power right now. Areas like just southwest of the UX60 also without power. You can see the reason listed right there on the screen too. It says storm activity is affecting the electrical system in the area. SRP crews are working to restore the power, but they estimate that it may not be until close to 1 a.m. before power is restored. You know, they work really hard, and hopefully it's restored sooner than that. But if by chance you're watching us here on your phones, know that that is the latest from SRP there in the West Valley, that power is out for approximately 31,000 people, or do you say more than that, my producer? More than 31,000 people from SRP and APS combined. Daisy, our producer in the booth, for helping me out here with that latest information of power outages in the West Valley, and it's all due to the storm activity. So indoors is the place to be. I know it is still hot outside. Hopefully the rain is making things feel at least better. If you are kind of in the clear from the severe thunderstorm warnings, then you've got a little bit of rain, cooled air maybe coming your way. But overall, it's going to be a good idea to keep those refrigerators closed if you can, because if you've got a power outage and it's going to be several hours before the power is restored, it's probably going to be a good idea to keep those fridges closed to preserve the cool air in there. Let me show you these current temperatures. Temperatures are still pretty hot, but what you're going to notice is that we don't currently have a reading in the Glendale area. I am going to have to look into that, but potentially because of the rain that moved through. But check out this temperature difference though. 89 degrees right now in Deer Valley. You're reading that right. It's 89 degrees in Deer Valley. That is some rain cooled air for you. 89 degrees in Deer Valley, where they got a lot of rain, in comparison to the 104 in Tempe, where we didn't get as much rain. So again, that rain at least is cooling things down, but we've got some severe weather, and that's going to cause some big time issues, especially in the West Valley. So I'm resetting you and taking you back to Desert Doppler radar and showing you how this storm is continuing to track to the west here. As this storm moves west, it is producing some significant rain, but mainly damaging wind and hail are the biggest concerns. I'm going to go through these alerts. At 9:15 is where the one that's impacting parts of Glendale is set to expire. I will let you know if it does expire here in the next few minutes, and then we will take a little pause as we reset and again bring you more updates as we track this storm moving further to the west. And of course, you can join us on ABC15 at 10, where we will have the very latest on these thunderstorms rolling through. I expect that by 10 o'clock, these storms are primarily going to be just west of the Phoenix metro area, but spots like Tonopah and our viewers in Tonopah and areas west of the Phoenix area will likely still be impacted by them. But for now, let me zoom you in. We still have this severe thunderstorm warning that remains in place until 9:15 for areas around Tullison, areas of Glendale, including downtown Glendale, portions of the Loop 101 and also the Westgate area, and areas further south. Laveen still under that severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15. Winds could be as strong as 70 miles an hour in some of these areas still too. You'll notice the Phoenix Raceway and is under that severe thunderstorm warning. The areas around Tullison include Van Buren, 83rd Avenue, 99th Avenue, Buckeye, all of those areas getting some very heavy rain. Westgate still getting some heavy rain. The 101, where we were watching that ADOT camera just shake and the visibility drop significantly, that's an area that's getting some significant rain still. Sun City getting in on some of that heavy rain, as is the area around Youngtown, 103rd Avenue and Thunderbird getting some heavy rain there. It is 9:14. That polygon covering those portions of the valley, that polygon includes that severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 9:15. I will let you know here if it expires in the next minute or so. Further to the west, though, we've got this severe thunderstorm warning that also includes portions of Goodyear, portions of the Phoenix Raceway, areas around Buckeye and the I-10, areas around Perryville, around Litchfield Park, Luke Air Force Base, areas like Waddell, and of course the White Tanks included in that severe thunderstorm warning. And that alert is set to go until 9:45. Okay, there you see it. There's that latest update. The areas around Glendale and Peoria, your severe thunderstorm warning was allowed to expire. And that's because that severe thunderstorm is working its way west of where you are. Not to say you're not still seeing those strong winds and heavy rain, especially if you live along maybe the I-10 in Tullison, so that I-10 101 interchange. It's still coming down, but the strongest portion of this storm has now shifted further to the west, and we're talking areas around Goodyear. We're talking areas like Buckeye that are in the clear now, but that will be getting some of that heavy rain in just a little bit, and that severe weather too. I'm going to zoom out to show you the valley here one more time before we take a little bit of a pause here and show you that really the areas that are hardest hit right now are in the West Valley, areas from about the I-10 to the Loop 303 and out towards the White Tanks. Areas in Tonopah are in the clear now, but these storms are heading in that direction. Daisy, could you remind me what you just said right now? Oh, check out this live look here. This is our crew out in Goodyear, and you can see that heavy rain there coming down, soaking up that area in Goodyear, and also those lightning flashes too. And if you look closely, those trees are waving in the wind as well, but it is coming down. It's like we're dumping buckets of rain there on our crews, and that's what it looks like in a lot of those neighborhoods here in the West Valley right now, where we are getting a lot of that heavy rain that is coming down here in the West Valley. So very heavy rain, significant winds too, wind gusts that could be as high as 60 miles an hour in that area of the West Valley, and also a lot of lightning. Small hail is a possibility too, as large as quarter-size hail as well. You can see how the wind is essentially blowing that rain around too. So a significant storm event here in the valley, and this is all triggered just a couple of hours ago, initially with these storms working their way into the valley off the higher terrain, or at least winds triggering them within within the Phoenix metro area. I'm going to give you one last look at desert Doppler radar here before we pause and reset for our 10 o'clock newscast. You can see that we've got a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for the West Valley until 10:45. This does include areas around Goodyear and Buckeye. This storm is tracking to the west. It is producing some very heavy rain, wind gusts as high as 60 miles an hour potentially, and quarter-size hail. This severe thunderstorm warning runs until 9:45. These storms primarily impacting areas along the I-10. Now is not the time to get on the road along the I-10 if you can avoid it. Also the 101-2 and the Loop 303, because this rain is causing some significant visibility issues. We've seen some ponding water on the roadways too. Areas in the North and East Valley, you are in the clear right now. A lot of cloud cover, still a slight chance for rain for you, but I think once this stuff moves out to the west of us, it'll be moving through western Maricopa County and the valley will be quieting down. I am going to have a look at the latest alerts and of course an updated forecast for you here at 10 o'clock on ABC 15. I hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, stay safe, and of course we'll keep desert Doppler radar up for you to continue to monitor the severe thunderstorms moving through the valley.